Minecraft just quietly dropped one of the biggest updates and changes to modding in years, and it's about to completely rewrite and change entirely how mods are made. So since the last time I uploaded on YouTube, I was hearing a lot of things about this article and a lot of people asking me what do you think, since this is a mods channel, so I wanted to cover it. So Mojang basically posted this article back at the end of October called Removing Obfuscation in Minecraft Java Edition. If you're wondering what this is, obfuscation is kind of like a way of scrambling and protecting programming code so people can't tamper with it as easily. So I'm going to go through the article, I'm going to read it first, have a few little talking points, and after we'll have a discussion about what this means, how has it changed, and what the future of modding might be. What this means for our modding community, so it seems like they've already told us. Do you like to mod Java, tinker with builds, or take deep dives into Minecraft's code? Then this article is for you. For a long time, Java editions used obfuscation, hiding parts of the code, like I told you, which is a common practice in the gaming industry. Now we're changing how we ship Minecraft Java Edition to remove obfuscation entirely, so they're removing all of that protection off the code, and we hope that with this change we can pave a future for Minecraft Java Edition where it's, this is the key part, easy to create, update and debug mods. So if you're wondering what debug means, that's kind of like testing your mods. This is really interesting because in the past people have had to decompile the game, so like break down the game, break it apart, and then explore the game's code and break it down into like sections to kind of understand it. Okay, that's the simplest way I can explain it. They're going to unlock everything, they're going to stop protecting it, which means it's probably going to be easier for mod creators. So let's read on. An obfuscated history. Minecraft Java Edition has been obfuscated since its release, so this has been a practice for a long time, guys. This obfuscation meant that people couldn't see our code. The source code is basically the programming code behind the game. Instead, everything was scrambled. So like I said, code scrambling, so people can't really decipher it. Think of it kind of like encryption, right? When you encrypt a string of text, you're kind of scrambling it, and then they need to figure out how to decipher it. For an example, in the past, you had like the Zodiac Killer, and people couldn't decipher his encrypted messages. It's kind of like that. And those who wanted to mod Java Edition had to try and piece together what every class and function in the code did. So functions and classes are how the code is kind of like broken down into sections, if you're into programming. But we encourage people to get creative both in Minecraft and with Minecraft. So in 2019, we decided to make this tedious process a little bit easier by releasing obfuscation mappings. So these mappings were essentially a long list that allowed people to match the obfuscated terms to unobfuscated terms. This alleviated the issue a little, as modders didn't need to puzzle out what everything did or what it should be called anymore. But why stop there? They gave a little bit of a helping hand to modders. So they gave mappings, which was basically a long list that allowed people to match these jumbled terms to unjumbled terms. They're kind of lending a helping hand to modders to make it a little bit easier, but they're not giving us the full picture. But they decided, why stop there? So let's make it easier. Modding is basically how Minecraft survived this long, so let's help out the community. So removing obfuscation in Java Edition. To make things even easier and remove these intermediary steps, we're removing obfuscation altogether. Starting with the first snapshot, which follows the complete Mounts of Mayhem's launch, they will no longer, this is the key part, obfuscate Minecraft Java Edition, which means that this build and all future builds will have all of our original names. Now it's going to have variable names and other names included by default to make modding even easier. So it says names in this context refers to technical names of elements of the code, including variables, fields, methods, classes, etc. This is a little handy guide here if you don't really understand programming. They've actually done a lot of the hard work for me, because as a modder myself who's made mods, who's also used software like mCreator as an IDE, which is kind of like the code platform, to engineer these mods, and also used actual Java code as well, I understand this stuff, but I'm glad that Mojang's broke it down. So what this means for modders. So we know that this change may pose challenges for existing modding tools, which are typically designed for obfuscated code, and we're going to help modders prepare for this change. Starting with the next snapshot, we will provide unobfuscated experimental release versions alongside obfuscated ones. Modders will be able to use these to test the tools and workflows before we transition fully to non-obfuscated versions. The first snapshot following the complete Mounts of Mayhem launch will be the first version without obfuscation. So what they're basically doing here is they understand that a lot of the modding tools and a lot of the platforms, things like the MC Coder Pack, MCP, the Minecraft Coder Pack, which most mods are built off, most of those are built off the obfuscated code. Okay, that's how people have been able to mod. They've learned a way to do it in the past, and a lot of people are going to find it difficult to transition. They're going to have to update all the software they use, all of like the coding libraries. So Mojang's basically saying, look, look, we're going to keep releasing the game how it is and how it was, but we're also going to release this new version which is going to be easier in the long run for you, but you can still keep with the current methods for a while until we retire that. So they're kind of being inclusive for everyone to be able to continue making the mods how they were, but they're obviously going to need to change their methods because this isn't going to be around forever. So why are we doing this? Why are they doing it? Well, modding is the heart of Java Edition, and obfuscation makes modding harder because when you jumble all the code around, when you protect it from prying eyes, from people decompiling it and trying to explore it, you're adding extra steps in between for them to actually understand it, and they need to understand it to then create an extension of that code so they can provide mods. We're excited about this change to remove obfuscations that should make it quicker and easier for modders to create and improve mods. Now you won't have to untangle tricky code or deal with unclear names. What's more, debugging will become more straightforward and crash logs will actually be readable. So debugging is obviously people testing the mods to see if there's any game breaking bugs or problems with the code. So now it's going to be a lot easier to do. And also they said crash logs will actually be readable. So those crash logs which you always paste and try and get help for on Reddit or in YouTube comments when your game crashes, when you're running too many mods and it's kind of hard to read and get to the bottom of it, they're going to be more easy to understand now. But luckily we have ChatGPT and things like that. Since we've had AI, crash logs and stuff have been a little bit easier to read for most of us. Now there's no changes to the EULA, which is the EULA, and that is the Minecraft End User License Agreement. So they say, just a quick reminder, these changes don't affect our Minecraft End User License Agreement and Minecraft Usage Guidelines. Both still apply to Minecraft Java Edition in any mods, so please keep them in mind. For extra transparency, you'll now find a license file inside the jar that links directly to the EULA. Here's what modders can expect in the upcoming releases and snapshots. No more obfuscation maps in version.jsons, as they're no longer needed. The client and server jar files won't be obfuscated, and each jar now includes a new license file. As with all of our releases, we'll want your feedback on this change, especially as we transition from an obfuscated past into our new, more transparent future. Boom. So this is huge. So I've been in Minecraft modding for absolutely years. This channel's been uploading Minecraft mods for a good few years as well, and I remember some of the first mods. I remember before Minecraft Forge was even released, and that makes me feel ancient. I remember when things were built on Rusagami's mod loader, when you had these old ancient mod loaders that were kind of like stitching things together to make you able to run mods. So what does this mean in general? Well, this is a big deal for the modding community because removing obfuscation is a current big limitation, and it lowers the barrier of entry for modding and building tools for new users to get into the scene. So that's huge. Okay, it means less mystery code that we can actually now understand easier. Instead of spending more time reverse engineering it and breaking it down or mapping these obfuscated names, modders basically get clearer code out of the box so they can understand and comprehend easier and then just get to work on the fun stuff. Now there's going to be a downside because, like I said before, there's a little bit of game of catch up here because all of the tools people have been using over time typically are going to need to be updated. So people are going to have to update all of these mod loaders, mapping generators, patches. All of these rely on the old obfuscation method, so they're going to need updating, so that'll take some time. There is potential though now, which is probably one of the biggest positives if you're trying to jump to the new version of the game and you're waiting for your mods to get updated. There's potentially going to be faster mod updates, which is great for people with mod packs because the translation cost is reduced. Okay, mod authors can now iterate mods quicker and support new versions faster because of these changes, right? And it opens doors to a lot of new modders, especially people who come in fresh, who might want to get into modding, who've just played some mod packs. They can ramp up quicker and learn the whole scene a lot quicker too. Now typically in the past, basically people who made mods, mod creators, they'd have to put a lot of effort into things, especially effort which is actually required to keep mappings updated with the new game versions. So people had to like rush out and keep updating the mods, and it was actually quite an arduous process to do. For those of us who use software like, let's say, mCreator for an example, we waited for an update for that software and then we'd update them and it'd just be relatively easy. You just have to wait for the software to get updated, which took a long time as well. But for people who manually created mods without any kind of extra software like that, it was even harder and annoying. So there's fewer intermediary steps now that they've released this unobfuscated code, or they're going to, and modders can actually directly reference those original names. So rather than relying on the community to produce and maintain these mappings that people can obviously reference and index, the devs are now just bringing the full clarity and transparency themselves so everyone can just see them. So this is also a big thing for mod pack creators. So if anyone on this channel's made a mod pack, it's going to be a big thing because it means there's going to be a lot less maintenance with obviously looking after your mod pack and a lot of less overhead with that when updates drop. It's going to be a lot easier to update your mod pack to newer versions, as mods will be more up to date at a quicker pace. So let me just give an example to some people who still don't understand. Before, Minecraft would basically hide things in the code, particularly names of things in the code. So for example, instead of seeing like the word player, you might see just like a string of letters. Instead of like player or boat item, you'd see like AAB or ZXQ, random just strings of letters. But now you're going to actually see the real thing, so it's not going to make the code confusing on purpose. But a lot of your favorite mod loaders, so we're talking like Minecraft Forge, Fabric, things like that, were actually built on the old system, but they'll need to update. But in the long run, it's just generally better because it's for the best. Just covering on the EULA, the end user license agreement, for people who didn't really understand that part as well. Even though it's easier to see the code now, Minecraft is still not open source software, so it still has to be in the license agreement that it's not public domain. You can't just copy the code, even if it's public. You can't just copy the code and steal it or make something off it and then profit. So that still needs to be clear in the EULA. The modding rules remain the same though, and this just makes things clearer. Basically, in fact, the takeaway, the conclusion of the video is Mojang just wants to make modding a lot more accessible and a lot easier, and this basically allows the game to keep a longer lifespan. It keeps modders happier, it makes modding more simplistic so people don't lose passion and quit because they don't want to be bothered to update things. So it removes just generally a lot of friction, and they saw that it was just making things harder to learn and kind of scared people away from getting into the scene. So they're removing that barrier basically just to help the community grow, and when the community grows, the game grows. So let me know what you thought about this in the comments. I know a lot of you guys who follow this channel will either be avid modders who download mods, maybe you've played a lot of the mods in my videos, or you play mod packs, or you even make mods or make mod packs. So I'm interested how this is going to affect both players and developers and what your actual 2 cents are. So do drop a comment down below. Make sure to smash the like button and subscribe, because what I'm going to do with this channel now is I'm going to post a lot of news. So anytime like modding information or Minecraft and general similar gaming information gets posted, I'm going to post that here on the channel. Check out one of these 2 videos next as well. See you soon.